is again. It's a exhibition of some recent kind of sculptural work, building on a body of work that I was completing at the end of my undergrad degree at the University of Victoria. Kind of, I guess, trying to make sculpture, but not really doing a great job of it. And I don't mean that in a disparaging way. I mean that in the sense of not making fixed sculpture, just kind of trying to deal a bit more with sort of arrangement, kind of like decor, kind of just things that you just kind of place around in a space, things in a room. And the title again, just very directly just dealing with this kind of simple idea of pattern and repetition, of habit and of routine, kind of just thinking about, I guess, just the general routines of daily life that we get into, that I get into, and this kind of sort of elliptical form of time of every day, of getting up in the morning and having your breakfast, having your coffee, going about your day, coming back home, going to bed, repeating the same process again, and making sculpture out of that. So I guess I could talk about, this is the most recent piece that I finished. I actually finished it yesterday. I've probably spent more time than I want to admit working on this little rug. It's just it's a faux Persian rug, I guess, just mass-made, bought from a store, just a little decorative item that I've just had with me for a little while, and just painted it. So all the pattern is just replicated, so all the colors are roughly the same, they're not quite, it's a little off. Generally it's true to the form. All the brushing is of course a little hasty, it's a little blobby, but just this kind of repetitive action of just sitting down and just painting again and again, this replicated pattern and this symmetrical pattern, which then in this kind of this iteration, this situation where it's placed on the floor and the way that it's cinched together, it's not symmetrical anymore. It's very simply, it's just a little off. But yeah, it just becomes kind of just a really basic kind of daily meditation, this kind of routine of painting, and related to that kind of routine that is built out of and built up by kind of gathering materials like these, like a rug like that, like these kind of decorative items. And then, yeah, that's something that then exists in each piece, just this kind of a repetition of an action or a repetition of a form that in itself is kind of, I guess it's kind of meaningless or purposeless, kind of bland, I suppose, but then seems to become more important by its kind of being continually built up and built up and built up. So like this piece over here on the floor, for instance, a bit of a different take on it, where you've got these this form, which is something that I'm very attracted to and interested in, but isn't necessarily I guess, meaningful in its own right, but then by its repetition, by its doubling, and then by the inclusion of there's the negative form which supports it. It supports itself. It builds itself up as something that is important and I guess self-contained. It's enclosed in its own kind of whatever it is. This piece is, I guess, one of the other things that was kind of running around when I was working on these pieces was just this, in the terms of this routine, it was this kind of this home life, this sort of domestic situation, and the decor, and then just the one other simple routine from, I guess, kind of a Victoria routine, going to the beach, and just kind of poking around in all these kind of nondescript, weird little things that you find around on the beach. So I kind of had in mind a bit of kind of like an algae trail, dragged out and caught, and then was kind of wanting to, I guess, bring that into a form that was kind of like a handicraft, sort of like this weird little, like those, all those kind of little DIY crafts that you can do at home, all those blogs that you see about, do this at home, make your own. So somehow that translated into making my own, all these little kind of stir stick, popsicle stick kind of shapes. So those are all hand cut. They're made from door skin. And so again, that kind of repetitive action and just basic work of just cutting and sanding these little forms and then inking them, and then bringing those together into this kind of linked whole, all these parts coming together in this whole, which is kind of makes this, again, this elliptical, continuous form, which then gets tangled up on this other form, which is a bit less to do with anything, a bit more of just sort of kind of a faux naturalistic form, like a piece of driftwood in a way, just something you'd find. So then that kind of brings the whole thing into it's just a thing. So then kind of that elliptical form again over here in this piece, for instance, and this kind of repetition in a different way, where, say, taking this basic home object, this desk lamp, fixed to this almost completed circular form, the white from the desk lamp, which is then continued in the cord, in the painted label, in the painted wall relief panel, and the dotting pattern on the lamp, which is continued in some nails around here, and then the lamp which projects onto the wall. So it's powered out of the wall, but then projects onto the wall, and so it kind of it's doing something, but it kind of goes nowhere, except it kind of it's a thing again. It's just a thing on a wall, and it's kind of here to make its own light and make its own shadow, and to build itself up and to kind of develop its own meaning, its own purpose, which is kind of its own self-contained kind of whole again. So also another thing that I found interesting to do with this group of things was I started working on a lot of things that tended to be very low to the ground. I don't really know why to begin with. I think it was probably this piece, because naturally the outlets tended to be low to the ground, and also because I was working on another piece that was based on the form of little door jams, so something kind of naturally existing on the floor. And then just from there I just kind of kept making things that were just floor-based, and I found at the very least there was a bit of humor in that, in doing, and also in that idea of kind of trying to make sculpture, which is something that kind of tends to exist. It exists on the ground, and just really bringing that down to the floor level. So really just existing in that kind of realm of, say, like I was talking earlier about, say, taking a walk on the beach and just finding things scattered around. So kind of things just existing in that kind of space of just where you find them and how you find them, and how they don't really mean beyond whatever you ascribe to them, unless you pick them up and then, say, present them in a certain way. So say, this kind of tendency to put things on walls or put things onto shelves or mantles, kind of where you keep your precious things in the home, in the domestic environment. And bringing things like the picture frame, like in this piece over here, bringing something very basic, the 4x6 photo frame, that kind of the memento, and bringing that down to the floor level, and also into a kind of a context where the frame itself becomes the thing that's important, and then it repeats itself and grows upon itself, and then becomes something that's kind of more and less than a frame, because ultimately it again just does nothing but just be itself, just kind of droopily standing against the corner there and just hanging out. I guess I just wanted to add as a disclaimer that all the patterns and repetition and all of this kind of meaninglessness and purposelessness sounds like a little bit of drudgery, but I think that somehow the point comes around, or not the point, the kind of vague feeling comes around that I hope it's all very beautiful, and that the daily life, this kind of just going on and going on, and this again and again, and doing things again and again, and every day is just somehow beautiful again and again, even in just simple ways, even with just the simple things that are kind of just what's there, just whatever surroundings are around us or around me at any time. And there can be some kind of comfort in that.
No,